My first preseason as a powerlifter moving into rugby was hellish. Now, if anyone remembers what preseason was like, the ground was rock solid. Now, we did conditioned touch, but when you get touched, you have to hit the deck, present the ball, someone goes over, and then you play away from there. And hitting the ground was horrible. But before any of that happened, I'd done 2 months of playing touch rugby and then jumped into preseason. Now, my conditioning base I thought would be better than it was. Like, if I have to rank myself 0 to 100, it would have been 1 out of 100. 5 to 6 years of powerlifting, doing zero kind of aerobic, anaerobic work, just purely powerlifting. We're talking like 5 to 8 minute rests between sets, kind of everything geared towards being good at doing a single rep at a time. And now I figured I'd play 2 months of touch rugby, like I'd at least have something. But I didn't really. I had nothing. So we'd get into kind of, everyone arrives, start passing the ball around, play a little bit of light touch before the warm-up. And in that light touch, I was dying. Like, the struggle bus was well and truly alive immediately. Like, any time I had to jog 10 meters, come back, jog again, heart rate just spiked so high. And I could feel it and I could see it because I was drenched in sweat by the time we'd got to kind of warming up. And I was the only one, really. And it was awful feeling for me, and I've probably played it over in my mind too many times and got to that point. But to turn up and be what I felt was the most unfit person there by a long way, and powerlifting just didn't set me up for it in any way, shape, or form. And now it's very easy to do powerlifting and still be cardiovascularly fit. Like, it basically doesn't interfere at all. If anything, it makes your powerlifting better because you can recover quicker. Your recovery outside of the sessions is better, and general life is just better for being fitter, right? And so my kind of regret in the 6-7 years is not having done that kind of work. And like, obviously dialing on powerlifting has been really good for me. Got me to where I am now. Like, competed at the highest level. Happy days, but no base for rugby, which doesn't help with preseason. I like to think that my body responded pretty well to preseason. Like, I think if I was looking at it from a numbers perspective, I'd have gone from kind of a 1 out of 100 to maybe 20 out of 100 by the end of preseason. And 100 being like where I think the fittest I could be on a rugby pitch would be, I would say it's about 20 by the end of preseason. So that's pretty good. Like, it's a pretty good return considering coming from absolutely nothing. But my ability to kind of do repeated efforts and be as good as I want to be just isn't there yet. And so I've given myself kind of a second preseason now, which is between kind of December and January here, to get fitter. And that's been a lot of off-feet conditioning, ski erg, and rowing. I don't really like cycling, so I mainly stick on the ski erg, and I think it's better for me right now to be doing the ski because it keeps my leg fresh to be able to kind of work on other things, which are my plyos, my sprints, getting faster, getting better for rugby. Now, when I got into pre-season, my training plan in the gym was very different from what everyone else at rugby was doing or likely doing, because I was still peaking for a powerlifting meet. So I had my set days of training for powerlifting, my set days of rugby, and my gym work didn't complement my rugby at all. It was two completely separate things going on, kind of fighting within my body to work, because I needed to be fitter. So I needed to run, I needed to exert force that way. But then I still need to be really good at being completely stationary and squatting as much weight as possible, benching as much weight as possible, deadlifting as much weight as possible. And now, if I could change what I'd done, I would obviously change my gym program to match up with my rugby a lot more. But my preseason was kind of held back a bit because I needed to save myself and save kind of my hamstrings for lifting. Now, I would have loved to have done more running and to do that, but the risk of injury was so high. My Achilles were already killing me. My hamstrings were killing me. Like, hips, lungs, everything. Like, I would finish preseason, I would get home, ice bath, like, every single time. Like, there was no preseason session where I didn't do that. And I would get out of it, and my calves the next morning were so sore from having to actually work and do their job because they've spent years doing nothing but kind of stabilizing me. Now, is it a bad thing that I was having the ice baths? Maybe it held back a little bit of it, but the inflammation levels and what I needed to do was I'd finish that day and I'd need to squat the next day because it was my powerlifting program. And that kind of held me back through preseason a little bit. Now, that being said, preseason was great. Like, the amount of running and the amount of time spent practicing skills during that was great. And I feel like my rugby for the season has really improved because of that. And I'm glad I did it. I just wish that I could have done it better, but that's me looking back and always wanting to be better at these things. Like, I have now had to have a massive change up in my training program because I'm so set on wanting to be better at rugby, and I still want to do powerlifting and I still want to be competitive, but I'm well aware of the fact that I'm no longer competitive at the highest level of powerlifting, right? I've had to bring myself down a couple of notches, which is okay. Like, these things happen. Like, you essentially have an expiry date in the sport, and for some people it lasts a little bit longer, and for some people it comes a little bit sooner. And that expiry date isn't for retiring from powerlifting, but that's being as competitive as you want to be, and you've seen it. It's why these young kids coming up, and I call them kids because they're like 6, 7 years younger than me, 8 years younger than me. God, some of them are more than 8 years younger. Some of them are a decade younger than me. and they're insane, and they're coming through on this new wave of kind of programming and nutrition and knowing what to do, having more availability to the right kind of kit, more people around them, more knowledge on social media, on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, like, and that's fantastic because it grows the sport, it gets people into it, it gets people trying it out, and some people stick with it because they're really good. Now, I love seeing it, and I will never hate on the boys for being as strong as they are. Is it annoying as heck? Yes, it is, like, because I want to be stronger than them, but at the moment, my focus has switched to rugby and getting better at that for my team. And so pre-season for me was a little bit different because I was peaking for a powerlifting meet at the same time, so my gym work didn't reflect what I should have been doing for it to get the most out of pre-season. But I still leveled up a fair amount in pre-season, which is what the goal was. Now, was I prepped for contact? No. And that exposed me in my first game kind of back playing rugby again, where I absolutely boomed, like, well and truly in completely the wrong position. But in that game, I still made some really good tackles as well. Still made some good runs, but didn't pace myself because I wasn't aware of how unmatch fit, my lack of match fitness. And that, we kicked off, I ran after kickoff, they broke through, ran back, they kicked it through, or the ball went through again, and we kicked it back, and I've done all of those as sprints, instead of just being like, I'm 107 kilos and a hooker. I don't need to sprint after this. I was like, I'm 18, I need to chase after this ball like a little Labrador just flying down the pitch. I did that and absolutely knackered myself immediately, and then was like, had like a reality check after it and went, oh, I'm absolutely dead. Like, I've used all my gas immediately, like I need to slow down. And then you'll find me out on the wings, and I'm more than comfortable defending on the wings, but I needed a breather. And there were points in the game where I was playing as essentially a winger. A winger had gone into the line. I was sat in the back because I needed a break. And that was a 20-minute stint. And I was so unfit that I couldn't hack it. And it's a huge reality check for me about how poor my fitness had got to, how unhealthy my body had got. And I was the strongest person there by a mile. Like, I'm going to be on pretty much every pitch I turn up to. And that's not in an arrogant way. But the list of people who squat 335 kilos in the UK is very small, and from what I know, none of them play rugby in Essex, so the chance of running into them is very, very small. And I'm not 335 kilos strong while I'm playing rugby. I won't be. I don't want to be, but I've had to change up my training a lot recently to get better, to be where I want to be, to help out the team, because ultimately now it's not just about me. If my lack of fitness costs us a try, then it hurts not just me, the team, the club, everyone like that. And that kind of, I don't want to say fear of failure, but I don't want to be the guy letting the team down. Like, I've never wanted to be that. So where that leaves me is that my preseason was rough, like really rough. It was really hard, and it was a lot of reality and ego checks through that. But what's happened is I've managed to take that on board, and I feel like I've improved a lot as a rugby player through then. Being able to get through preseason, a few games in the first half of the year, more games, the second half coming up. Fingers crossed that the weather doesn't, affect the game this weekend, and be able to play and test out what I've been doing recently, and hope that it has some carryover and that I feel better, because I've not had a full rugby training session since my comp in December. So I've got some time. I've had some time kind of prepping, getting my fitness better, and I feel like it's a lot better. I feel like I'm above 50 now. Like, that's how I feel when I'm actually doing it. Like, I'm calm. There's no like panic stations when I'm kind of putting myself through my paces, doing kind of 20-minute ski, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, and 4 minutes on, 90 seconds off. And like those kind of paces I'm going are really good. and I'm able to output the same at the end of those sessions as I am at the beginning, which is what it needs to be. I'm consistent with that, those repeated efforts getting better, and so I should be good for the rest of the season. But pre-season, don't underestimate it. Make sure you do some gym stuff before it. Look after yourself, your Achilles, your hamstrings, your hips, everything. It helps so much more than you know to be able to do that kind of gym stuff.